So this is Robert Frezzo with Modern Frequency. I'm here with Shiragirl.
What up?
How are you today? Thank you for doing this.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's great.
You're awesome for doing this. It's awesome. So I wanted to ask you a few questions about how you got started in the music business.
Yeah.
How did you get started in the music business?
Well, I've been a dancer since I was 3 years old and did musical theater. I always loved performing. Then I studied abroad in London during college, and I met a producer, and we started writing together. And then I really got my start. I went on the Warp Tour with the Truth campaign, and that was kind of my first foray into the actual kind of music business. And that's when I noticed there weren't a lot of female artists on the tour.
Right.
So I approached the tour founder, Kevin Lyman, and I said, just curious, why aren't there a lot of female artists on this tour? And I basically worked with him to start the first ever female stage.
That's awesome. How did you get his attention for doing that?
Well, I actually just kind of showed up.
Yeah.
What happened was I approached him. I said, I would love to bring some of my, I know a lot of girl bands in New York City, so I'd love to bring some of my friends' bands onto the tour, maybe set up in the girls' garage tent. And he said, great idea, but we have a lot going on, and it's the 10th anniversary this year, so maybe next year. So then we just kind of said, let's just show up and do it anyway, because we're like, next year, so far away. So we had a pink RV, and we drove in. We set up across from the skate ramp, and we had a little punk rock PA system, and we started playing, and Kevin walked by, and we were like holding our breath to see what would happen, and he looked around, and he said, all right, Shira, you on for the rest of the tour? So
That's incredible.
yeah, he loved it.
How did you feel at that time? Like ecstatic?
Yeah, it was amazing, triumphant. And it was cool because, he is a punk rocker and he appreciated what we were doing, but he also, it was almost like a challenge. Like, all right, you got this? All right, let's see you do the whole tour. And we took him up on it.
That's very cool. Who are your influences? Because you blend a lot of genres together, like
Yes.
pop, punk, rock.
Yeah. Well, I mean, on the punk side, definitely like the whole Riot Girl movement, Bikini Kill, of course, Joan Jett, definitely Rancid, Sublime. Growing up listening to all those bands, but then at the same time, I love pop. So Madonna is my number one performer influence. Gwen Stefani, and No Doubt.
Right.
I love Pink. So yeah.
Right. Speaking of Madonna, you've been called the punk rock Madonna. I think that's very cool. How did that come about?
That was total honor. It's funny because we were really trying to define the sound of the new EP, and the whole concept of the EP was to fuse the dance pop sound with the punk rock sound. So we would say it's like if the Ramones and 80s Madonna had a baby,
Yeah.
And then a friend of mine actually coined the term punk rock Madonna. She started a hashtag, and then it just kind of picked up, and then Billboard picked up on it. So yeah.
Awesome. What's it? Well, what was it like being in the boys' club on the Warp Tour? Was that difficult or easy or?
It wasn't easy at first. We definitely were challenged to prove that we could rock as hard as the guys, and a lot of people sort of doubted us. We were like the underdogs, we were a DIY squad, so
Right.
we had our own sound. We drove, we did everything ourselves in the beginning, But at the end of the day, people really supported us. The tour is like a big family, and Kevin supported us, and the bigger bands supported us. Pennywise, Rancid, NoFX, Transplant. So if anything, it was kind of like the younger bands that sort of had an attitude,
Mm-hmm.
But then once they saw the big guys supporting us, they're like, all right, we'll get on board.
It's amazing. What do you like about the pop rock punk music scene that you helped ignite?
I love the DIY ethos of just, do it yourself. And, in the music business, it's like there's this idea of getting discovered, And in punk rock, you just go out and you do it.
Yeah.
If you want to tour, you do it. If you want to be a rock star, go out and be a rock star. So I love that. And it's also, as an artist, we tend to be very self-critical and perfectionist,
Mm-hmm.
But with punk rock, you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be the greatest singer. God knows I'm not. I consider myself a performer, really. And it's about, just doing it and making a statement, and you don't have to have the highest vocal range or be perfect, you just have to have the passion.
Okay, so you currently have the EP out. The video for Summer's Coming's out. It's in the can. What's next for you?
We're going to be shooting more videos. So,
Awesome.
Yeah, so we're excited. We actually hope to shoot one here in New York City.
That's
LA.
That's great.
Well, the EP is called Brooklyn Goes Hollywood.
What's
so.
the next single?
I Must Be Dreamin'.
Okay, and
Yeah.
that's what you're going to shoot here?
Yeah.
Awesome.
So,
And I wanted to ask you about Summer's Coming. The video is obviously shot in LA, and
Yeah.
what, Venice Beach?
yes, Venice Beach.
Did you choose a location, scout the location out, or?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I live in LA now. It's like we wanted to shoot on the beach. I love Venice Beach because it's like the punk rock beach. It's the quintessential kind of, you know, summer location. I always loved Venice, so it's a great combination of like the grit and also, you know, the beachy scene. So
Awesome. And the EP is, I'm sorry, you said, what was my next question? I totally forgot about it.
the EP's called Brooklyn Goes Hot.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask about. What made you decide to title it that way?
Yeah. So my whole band is from New York, and we all kind of go back and forth to New York and LA, and myself and my bassist moved to LA recently, and honestly, the concept is it's like a dichotomy, you know, because you know, I moved from Brooklyn to.
You're bi-coastal.
I am, but it's like, you know, there's this idea of Brooklyn sort of selling out, you know, and all the good venues like Trash Bar and all these good venues closing down, you know,
Right.
And they're really kind of like, you know, pushing the artists out, you know. It's like being completely redeveloped, and it's a lot of new money, and you know, the punk rockers really have nowhere to go. So, you know, I moved to LA for many reasons, but kind of searching for that community and that opportunity to be an artist, you know. And so it's a kind of a personal reference. It's a reference to our New York roots, and then, you know, Brooklyn Goes Hollywood is like, when you think of Brooklyn, you think of like the grit and kind of like, you know, the tough, hard, you know, New York City, and then Hollywood is like glam and summer and perfect. And so, you know, similar to that concept, like we feel like the sound of our EP has that dichotomy where it's glam and it's fun and it's pop, but it's also gritty and punk rock.
That's awesome. One last question for you. How hard is it to be a female in the music industry right now? Because with the whole Me Too movement, and how hard was it to get noticed?
Yeah, it is really hard. You know, we're definitely in the minority, but at the same time, you know, I don't let anything stop me. So just go out there, do it. You know, I'm all about creating opportunities, not just for me, but for other female artists, you know, with my stage on Warped Tour, the Shiragirl stage. So, you know, I say it definitely is challenging, but there is a movement of support coming up right now. So.
That's amazing. And are you going to be playing New York anytime soon?
Yeah, we'll be announcing more shows soon, so stay tuned.
Amazing. Thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it.
you.
And again, Shiragirl, go get her EP, Brooklyn Goes Hollywood.
That's right.
And thank you for watching Modern Frequency. Robert Frezzo, we're out.